So I just came from a breathwork class.
Yeah.
As soon as I got to the door,
Yep.
all the blankets were already set up, the pillows, there was sound bowls set up with some instruments.
Where was this?
Instantly at St. Haven.
Yeah, nice.
I instantly knew that it was going to be a ripper breathwork class. Anyway, lay down. The way this teacher started conducting the class,
Yeah.
like the session, there wasn't a lot of people either. I think it was just me and 2 other people.
Yeah.
But the way she just started talking, so we're just laying there, just lying down. And the first thing she started talking about was like trust. And she just started having a conversation with us and flowing into, the concept of trust and repeating it as a mantra while we're going through this breathwork class. And she, the way she just captivated us the whole time, anything she was saying, I was so connected to her. And she had everyone so captivated and embodied into this. I don't know, man. It's just,
energy,
it's just
her
the
aura.
intention. I think it's a bit of the energy, bit of her wisdom, her knowledge, her life experiences, and the way she just like formulated the whole thing. And then the first half of the class, there was no music, so we could all hear each other breathing. And then she started when it got to the peak of the breath work.
What was the breathwork technique?
It was pretty much just belly breath, chest breath, out, release. So,
that's a good one.
and it was that for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And just kept going. Tingles. When we started getting tingles, she was telling us to like tap our jaws. So you're just like lost in tapping your jaw, and then the breath hold, and then you're kind of like, you're fully connected at that point.
The breath hold
and then
is so good.
And then she just hit the sound bowl, and it just rung, and then and that's when it started, and that's when the music started, and she's like guiding us through this, thing of trust and just breath work and healing, and it was just phenomenal. And then at the end of the class, we sat there talking to her, and she was sharing some wisdom, and one of the people were talking about how they went in the experience, and it was just phenomenal. Anyway, she's going to be a podcast guest in about couple of months.
Did you tell her after the class?
Yeah, we sat
nice.
down. That's why I thought I was running late, because I was just so into the conversation with them that I lost track of time.
So let me ask you a question. So like I've done a bit of breath work, but if no one had ever done breath work, like number one, like what do you feel in a physical sense and a spiritual sense? And B, like what do you reckon is the most benefit? Like why would someone take time out of their day to do like a breath work class? Like what are they going to benefit from it?
Before I answer that question, I want to delve into. I want to go into something else, and then answer your question.
Okay.
So last night we were in the sauna, and we were talking about, things that we've tried for health and wellness, essentially like the hydrogen bottle or the aura ring or certain, and through that conversation, we were talking about like, some things work, some things don't.
Yeah.
How do you really know what works? When someone asked, do you read scientific research papers?
Yeah.
And ultimately, there's always a scientific research paper for either side of the field.
True.
So the research papers aren't always the way to do it. I like to go by instinct, intuition, the way we feel about something. Sometimes you try something, it might serve its purpose for a couple of months. Sometimes it doesn't at all. So I think intuition, being connected to the source, is the way.
What's the source though?
Well, basically it's like, say, the elements.
Okay.
The elements of life, wind, which is breath, air. That's what, like, so the element of air. Okay. Then you have fire, fire, water, earth. These elements are like earth, grounding, fire, sun, warmth, drive. They're essentially like the basics to health and wellness before you can even look at supplements or look at anything else.
True.
Does that make sense?
The basics.
It's the basics.
Get good, clean
basic
water.
Fundamentals.
Breath, 100%. Ground. Yeah, things like that. Yeah. Instead of you getting into the nitty gritty of like the infrared sauna or the steam.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
So when you focus on the basic elements of life, your breath, how are you breathing every day? And like breath work is something we do to be like, okay, let's pull ourselves back into the center where we're breathing in a way that our central nervous system will feel calm and relaxed. But how are we breathing when we're not doing breath work day to day, So for me, before I go to sleep, I tape my mouth put mouth tape on so that just in case that night, you know, some stresses come up or whatever, I'm not unconsciously breathing through my mouth in my sleep. It's just controlled, constant nose breaths.
And the nose strips?
I don't do the nose strip, but I don't need to because your nose is...
See, I prefer the nose strips over the mouth.
Yeah, okay.
Because I feel like I get a way better sleep.
It opens.
Yeah.
It opens up.
Yeah, like because when I wake up, I feel like it's less nasally.
Well, I've never tried them, so I don't want to say much about it.
Doesn't that agree with the point you just said, how everyone's different and you got to just see what works for you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Interesting. So have you ever done like a breathwork ceremony?
Yes.
How was that? Do you want
Pretty
to just
deep.
touch on that? Yeah.
Pretty deep. Like I think, to be honest, at the beginning, really early days of my health and wellness journey, I wanted to delve deep into meditation, and I was talking to an elderly guy, a very successful elderly guy, and I was telling him about, you know, just meditate. I've been meditating, and you know, I've been doing all these things, and I'm feeling good. And he started telling me about this guy that he went and saw, and a few people that he knows have seen, and he takes you back to your childhood.
I remember you told me about this. So, and is he still around, that guy?
Nah, he's retired.
Really?
If only.
So he doesn't take any. That's it. He's done.
Nah.
But
I think the closest thing to it these days would be maybe holotropic breathing.
Okay.
Stuff like that, but it's not the same. I feel like it's the facilitator that really takes you deep.
It was an intense experience.
It was an intense experience. But that was probably one of the most profound breathworks I've ever done. I didn't see it as breathwork. I didn't see it as breathwork at the time, but like looking back, it was because he was, you know, guiding me through breath the whole time, forced me in the same breath. But it just gets so intense, and then he starts physically manipulating you while you're, you know, in a deep state of breathwork.
So what does that look like though? Like, is he touching on your like pressure points of the body?
Sort of, yes. Certain points where he's barely even touching. Like he'll just press his finger into you, and it's just like he's opened up a black hole in the universe. Like, wow. It's crazy.
Is it painful, or is it
Yeah, you scream. Hurts. And but that's the breath work plus the pain plus the screaming, like the release of pain takes you to your childhood, to a pivotal moment in your childhood, and you relive it. You don't know how long you're down there. You're reliving. You're like going, it's almost like you're time traveling, and you're reliving that moment. You're like, wow, I can't believe this memory exists in my consciousness.
Insane. So it literally took you back to a childhood moment that you felt like you were there. Like,
yes. Yeah. And then I think
was it a good
moment? That breath work, that guy, Scott was his name. That session with him, that first session, you know, I feel like ever since I did that, I really learned it was the beginning of my journey to really understanding love and forgiveness and gratitude, like those aspects of you know, God and life. I feel like before that, I didn't really fully grasp it.
Yeah, let's take it there, because I'm actually always interested, like, because you've come a long way that people don't know, but what you are now compared to, like, let's say 10 years ago is completely different, and you had a journey. So, like, why don't we touch, I guess, what was the pivotal moment? What was life before that pivotal moment? Just a little touch points on those, and then.
Yeah, well, to keep it real fair, life in general is one massive journey. You're never the same person every day, let alone 10 years apart. So for me, I now look at it as like every interaction with someone alters, you know, who you are, your consciousness.
Agreed.
And then that's just your interactions. Then if you start looking at like, how have you been eating? How have you been drinking? What are your habits? What are you doing? How do you talk to people? How much love are you feeling? So like your avatar in this game of life, or, you know, your consciousness is constantly evolving. So it's never one thing, you know? My missus says it to me all the time, like, you're not the guy I married. I said, and I won't be this person in 5 years again.
Wait, is she saying it for the better or for the worse?
There's no better or worse. It doesn't matter. It's just I'm constantly evolving into different versions of Jonathan.
Of course.
You know? So growing up, I want to touch on this because I want to sort of delve into
it's important.
Like where I'm going with construction and development. So when I was, you know, in my younger years, I was fortunate enough to have, you know, a very close cousin family of kids that always used to stay at Crown Casino. And we used to just go there for fun. We used to sleep there with them. They used to always have a room, like it was at Crown Towers. Yeah. So I was exposed to this life of luxury at a young age.
Yeah, nice.
And I always, like every time we were there, whether, because there was phases where like I was training there every day just at the gym, or there was phases where we'd sleep there, or there was phases where we were just there hanging out, you know, just week in, week out, always there till early hours in the morning. And like, you'd think Crown Casino is not the best place to hang out as a kid, but,
how old were you?
But it's so safe. It's the safest place to be as, you know, a teenager, young teen, like, you know, from 13 to 15.
You're going to Crown at 13?
Even younger.
No.
Yeah. And we used to just hang out there, but our parents would be there, or, you know, as the younger teens. But as we got a bit older, even all the way to like our 20s, we were always going there, mid-20s maybe. Always heading there for like whatever it is, something. And
why were they always at Crown though?
It's just the lifestyle they lived.
Okay, so they just enjoyed it.
They enjoyed it.
Okay.
There was times where they're renovating their house. They stayed there for long periods of time, all that sort of stuff. So, but being exposed to that luxury lifestyle, my dream was always like, I'm going to live at Crown Casino. That was, you know, that was my vision, and that's how I thought I want to live my life, because just the whole thing, the elevator, the key card, the service, the massages, the, you know, the tennis courts, the swimming pool, the steam room, the sauna, you know, it just, everything was there.
It's an experience.
The food at your service, like all the stuff.
Yeah.
So that I think played a pivotal role in, you know, everything that I'm doing today in terms of luxury. Because when I first started building, I was building with a builder who was my dad's friend. And that's where I learned, you know, a lot of the basic skills of construction. And when I went out on my own, I was very young, probably about 20 years old. I'd bought my second site. First site wasn't a development, but my second site that I bought, it was around 2013. It's 2013. So I would have been about 20 years old.
That's impressive.
And got plans, permits, ready to go. Once it was ready, started building. And that was my first project on my own.
And how was that?
All I knew was townhouses, because I'd learnt from this builder that built townhouses, and then now I'm building townhouses. And then we carried on. We did well. We made money, like made some really good money. It was a really good time. Like there was a massive boom from like 2013 to 2016 roughly in property. So every property I was buying and developing, there was the rate of like me making money on the development, but then there was also the capital growth, which was massive at the time.
Wow.
Property was just skyrocketing, you know? So it was really good. But and with that first development, I was very passionate. I tried to, you know, I was only building small townhouses in Thornbury, and this was, you know, 12, 15 years ago. But I really put the effort into the quality, into the kitchens, the bathrooms, the structure, like, and you see it today, it's got that grandness to it. It's still there. But being in the townhouse development space, I very quickly learned that I'm overcapitalizing. So on the next development, I pulled it back. And then the next development again, I pulled it back more, you know, just the quality of finishes and all that. But then it started to not be as fulfilling, you know, because it wasn't in line with who I was, but I didn't really see that at the time. And, you know, and I always aspired to, you know, be better, not get worse, you know? So it was kind of like a bit of a learning curve for me, understanding what I want, what I don't want. Fast forward a little bit, I had this vision of, you know, building a home that is something that I would dream of living in for the rest of my life, and then selling it to someone, you know, giving it to someone as a development, but it being a piece of me, a passion project, you know? And once I started that venture, the vision wasn't that clear at the start, but as I got deeper and deeper into it, started building, you know, my budget was 1.2 at the start, and it ended up blowing out to 2 million on the build. Like, you know, that's almost like whatever it is, 80% increase in my budget. But I just couldn't like half-ass any bit of the project because it was purely that. It's purely a reflection of me, and it's a passion project. Like I want it to be something that really stands out and is special, you know? So as we go through that project is Hakatia. It's 32 Hakatia Street. With that project there, I started to really understand like what I want to do and how I want to take this. Now, at this point in my life, I haven't actually sold Hakatia yet. So I don't know if the love that I've put into this house is going to, be a financial win, but I don't care too much because where it's gotten me to today, the experience that I've had, first of all, building a house of its caliber, but then also, the journey that it's taken me on and the evolution it's taken me on to now really grasp what I want. I've realized that whoever takes this house, I want them to feel the energy that I felt when I walked into that breathwork class, where she had put so much love into the room before we even walked in. And I knew that it was just going to be a good breathwork class, I want someone who buys this house to feel that when they walk in, because I've put so much energy and love, like right to the last detail of like giving actual genuine love to the plants that are in the house, to every living organism. The swimming pools are like this living body of water in the house that I speak to through energy. And I truly believe they will. But throughout this process, it got even deeper. And I realized that like, all right, if I'm going to give someone this house with the ultimate, so I'll run you through like maybe what the house has first.
Please,
so
yeah.
there's things like, the house is like equipped with like, so it's a health and wellness home, essentially. So there's health and wellness incorporated to it with it, but there's also aspects of like entertainment. So like the whole house opens up. It's already retrofitted with speakers all over the house, connected to your phone and all this stuff. But then there's the health and wellness aspect to it where the whole house runs through a system. It's a Granda water whole house unit. So all the water runs through this unit. And what it does is it doesn't actually filter the water, but it revitalizes, restructures the water. This technology is from Europe.
Wow.
It's European technology. And because when you pull nutrients out of water, when you filter water, you're pulling all the nutrients out of it and you're left with just H2O. But that's killing the water. They call it dead water. So it's like I've tried to find the balance between keeping the water alive, but getting rid of or altering it because of, our tap water's got thousands of chemicals in it and chlorine and fluoride and a list of another 1,000. Literally, I've seen a page where someone done a detailed report on water itself and there was like multiple, like 10 pages. The list was like long. Anyway, so finding the balance between keeping the water alive, but revitalizing it, making the water, the energy of the water feel good again, So I found this Granda water system. So the water runs through that. And then when it gets to the drinking points, we've put a chlorine, a fluoride, and an argon filter. So that will make it safe to drink. But it also then goes into a billy tap. So you've got instant hot and cold of this like good quality water. For me personally, I like to drink spring water. So I'll only drink spring water. So water that comes naturally from the ground. That's the water that I drink day to day because element of water, you just want the best of the best quality. So then from that, Granda water, that their technology, they've got a system that they have for swimming pools. So inside the house, we've got a spa, like a big pool, and a cold plunge. Nice. And the water is all controlled by the Granda water technology. So there's a silver ion capsule that sits in each pool, and that like regulates the pH. It uses like energy from the sun, the moon, the atmosphere, like the ether. Wow. Which the ether is another element of life. Like water, there's the ether. It's the invisible. So it's the the particles in space between us. You know, it's not empty space between us. It's only empty because we can't see what's there. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
So this silver ion capsule, the way they explain it, is it connects, you know, to the sun, the moon, and for like energy forces through the ether to pH balance and regulate the water. So you don't need to add, there's no calcium, there's no acids, none of like the additives that they put in, you know, general pools. So now your water, your swimming pool game is on fire. So I jump into these pools, I cold plunge, and I bathe in the hot tub, but it can also act as a pool as well. You can change the temperature to whatever you want. 40 degrees.
Yeah, nice.
Which is hot,
Yeah,
you know,
is, yeah.
Set it to like 38. But you jump out of these pools, you don't need to have a shower. It's just freshwater systems.
That's unbelievable. Can I ask a quick question, John, before you continue? Where did you find all this information though? Like, how did you, this is not common knowledge of like, I'm a plumber. Obviously I know about filtration systems, but I've never heard of this like ether that uses the moon and the sun and that. Like, did you go on extensive research to find this stuff? Did you bump into someone? Did you meet someone? Do you know someone that had this information?
All of the above.
Yeah.
All of the above. So it's everything. That's life
But with
experience.
that specific thing, like,
it's meeting people.
Yeah.
It's talking. The Granda water system, I've been aware of it for like 4 years.
wow.
So someone that I know put it in their house 4 years ago and they were raving on about it. I got the guy's number because I was so interested and I delved into it. And there was like, my father-in-law was doing a pool at one point. I was trying to convince him to use it, but it's very voodoo. So a lot of people don't see eye to eye with
Of course.
what I'm saying right now.
100%.
Does that make sense? So it's hard to grasp, hard to believe, but I was very fascinated by it.
Of
And I'd
course.
call this guy like once every 6 months. I'd call this guy, he's from Queensland, and I just
So
have
it's Australian
His name's
technology?
Wayne Granda. No, the guy that he's got the Australian rights to sell
Okay.
it in Australia, but
Yeah.
it's from Austria.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
from Austria. So, anyway, also incorporating that hot and cold, like bathing experience. There's a sauna right there, and the sauna's like equipped with like one of the best sauna heating technology, where there's salt ions in. There's like pink Himalayan rock salt balls sitting at the bottom of the heater.
Wow.
And there's an aromatherapy capsule that you can put like, you know, essential oils in. So your sauna experience is amplified tenfold, you know? So now in this house, you got access to sauna, cold plunge, bathing, the spa and all that. And the quality of the water and stuff doesn't affect you. There's no flute like
wow.
chlorines and all that sort of stuff, just freshwater systems. So yeah. And then the next thing would be is in the house is like in the bathrooms upstairs, we've got red light therapy. So automatic sensors at nighttime where red light turns on so it doesn't stuff around with your melatonin production and your circadian rhythm. So you walk into the bathroom at night,
serious?
red light comes on, you do what you got to do. It's the best thing ever. So you don't even have to go out of your way to get red light therapy. Or ultimately, what is red light therapy? It's the element of fire. It's sun. You get what I mean? So ultimately, we should be just watching the sunrise or getting really early morning sun and getting the last few hours of sun, which is I try to do most days. But if I don't and I miss it, it's not a big deal because I feel like the red light therapy really helps with that.
That's
you know?
so good, man.
And it's just there. It's in your bathroom. You're going to walk into your bathroom every morning and every night.
And it comes on automatically.
Automatically at nighttime, so nighttime sensor. But in the morning, it doesn't work unless it's still dark
That's
when
one
you
of the
wake up.
coolest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it really
honestly.
is. It really is. So yeah, that's another cool feature that's come about in the house.
And how did you come up with that? Like,
Well, again, just these are habits that I've implemented over the last few years, and I just wanted to incorporate all my healthy habits into the home so that it makes it easy. You don't need to go out of your way to live health and wellness. It's like you live at home, incorporate it into your lifestyle.
that's so creative. Like,
It's a lifestyle.
a lot of people wouldn't have thought that a red light automatically comes on as soon as you walk into the bathroom at night. Like, that is actually very impressive. Like, maybe someone would put like a red light bed or something like that, or a panel. Like, but the idea of actually walking into a bathroom at night and the red light flickering on, like, Jono, that's unbelievable.
It's next level.
That's
and
unbelievable.
I don't think anyone's done this before. Like, it's not an
I've never
idea
heard
I
of
got
it.
from somewhere else. It's just something that I wanted to implement. You know,
Someone's
So
definitely stealing it after this, hearing about this.
that's
podcast.
cool, man. it's like it's there for the world. Like I want the world to feel better. I want everyone to feel better, implement health and wellness, because like these days, obviously, not these days, all days, in life in general isn't easy, but you can always counter it with good habits. And if you need to go out of your way to do red light therapy, it's going to be a lot harder to do. You're never going to do it. You might do it once a year, if that's if you're trying. So if it's in your bathroom, it's seamless. It's
so do you
integrated.
stand in your bathroom sometimes?
Nah, it's just there in the background. I don't.
But have you ever just laid on the floor just to get the?
Sometimes if I want to read at nighttime, I'll lay on the floor in the bathroom, and I just, because I'm in red light, it's not fucking with my circadian rhythm,
so
and
good.
I'm reading a book. You know what I mean?
What else you got, Colm? I'm pumped.
All right, so another thing that I implemented was like maximum amount of solar panels that we can possibly put on the house. So now the house generates so much power every day on its own, and then we've got a backup battery in the garage. So any spare power goes into the battery. There is an option with these homes as well. So they're retrofitted in a way where like you can make the house go fully off grid. We can just keep adding on batteries, and it gets to the point where the batteries can run your whole house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect
so you're not
sense.
wasting any power. You just sort of work out how much power you use over 3 days, and then you just have that many batteries, because it's very rare that they won't charge over 3 days. Like if you have complete clouds for 3 days straight, that's when you might need to use power from the grid.
Okay,
but
yeah.
you
That's what I was
wouldn't
gonna ask.
get there. It wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, if we maximize the amount of batteries.
So how many panels do you actually have on the house?
At the moment, it's the whole roof is covered. Like
Wow.
you can't fit one more panel at Hacketeer. But also in saying that, we've got a backup generator as well. So if there ever is a power outage on the street
Yeah.
and there's no solar,
Yeah.
backup generator will just load the battery up with
So
power.
you're ready for zombie apocalypse. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
But also it keeps your electricity bills down.
Yeah.
Being a big house, having all the pool equipment, the sauna, all that stuff chews up power. So we're not burning fossil fuels. We're not using power. You're not paying for the power from the street, which these days all utilities are through the roof, especially for us Melburnians.
Yeah.
So it works hand in hand, and like the whole house is massive, and the electricity bills are like, say, maximum $100 a month.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's like your redlining, like you've got everything running, you know? So it's pretty cool.
Okay.
So yeah, like Hackett's is just full of all these features, little things, there's small things. The actual house is architecturally designed. You got Sub-Zero fridges, which I don't know if you're aware of Sub-Zero fridge, but what they do is there's a special filter inside the fridge, and every minute or so, while the door's closed, every minute it will like pull out all the gases out of the fridge and puts fresh air in, like a clean type of air that doesn't oxidize the food. So it doesn't let like the enzymes start
So
having
food lasts
reactions in the
longer.
food. Yeah. So they say, you know, when you
Wow.
put like cheese in the fridge, if you don't wrap
You
your
gotta
cheese, you put
cover
it in
it,
the
yeah.
fridge,
Yeah.
it goes like hard in the edges and stuff.
Yeah.
This will like extends it like by, so say it was like 1 day it gets crusty edges, it will take like 7 days for
Wow.
it to, so it keeps food fresher for longer. So now
Yeah.
just even your fridge and your freezer game is on point.
What
you
about
know?
your oven game or your stovetop game?
Yeah, oven and cooktop is like, there was a lot of considerations, but it's just that we found so on the market when we went looking for ovens, most 90 centimeter ovens were really shallow this way. Like even all the high end ones, you pay top dollar and they're all like that. We found a really good oven, German made, and it's just got like the perfect capacity. So the oven it's a 90 centimeter oven, but you can actually fit things in there. So you can cook on multiple trays.
Is that just
at
a
once.
normal oven or does it do something special
No,
as well?
well, there is like extra features to it, but like these days it's probably pretty standard.
Oh, boring,
But
Jono. Come on, man.
But yeah, induction cooktop as well. So then it's like, it just all works. Everything's cooked with cast iron or
Yeah.
stainless steel. The bed in the house is on a 2-degree incline. So they say when you sleep on a 2-degree incline, it helps brain detoxification.
Dude, where did you find that piece of information? Don't tell me it just came to me. Seriously, where did you find that piece of information?
Just like through the experience of like always just
So your
always
bed's on a
trying to
slight
better
2
my
degree,
life. Like
yeah.
always just trying to get that bit better. If you can take care of all these things, all these little 1%. I've been a 1%er guy for a very long time.
Yeah.
So that's
what
why,
does that mean though?
like finding the little 1%ers that can improve my day-to-day life, you know, like drinking the best water, for instance. You know, for me, I think water is probably the most important 1%er because we are biologically water. So
what spring water do you get? Because you're not getting from like your Safeway or Coles. Like, are you getting special spring water?
No,
like?
I get it from a farm in Marrawini. It's called the Holy Farm.
Nice.
And they extract the water from 43 meters under the ground. And it's been tested, purity tested, bacteria tested, mineral tested, all the tests.
Wow.
And it's one of the best waters I've found to drink. You know, there's been a few on par, but some of them are very hard to get here in Australia or whatever else. So it is like the best water. Like,
I've got the oil. The oil's amazing.
Yeah.
Have you tried the oil?
The olive oil. It's all certified organic. Yeah, certified organic, certified cold pressed. It's 8 years in a row award-winning olive oil. So like, you know, these are little things. Like olive oil like that. It's, you know, it's something that, and I'd say oil is another element of life too, you know, if you want to like really try and find more elements. Like oil is,
Why oil?
Well, it's fundamentally like the parts that aren't water, there is oil. You know, the oil is the fat in your, it's the fat content in your body that keeps the brain, keeps all your joints lubricated. Like oil is, you know, it's more of a, I feel like oil is more of a physical element though.
Would salt be an element then, I guess?
Essentially, yeah.
True?
Yeah, it is.
I like that one, huh?
And it's a compound of minerals, I guess. And it's all like all the elements of life. Like salt would be more earth.
Okay.
Though. It'd be more part of the earth element.
Let me have it, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so John, this house sounds amazing. Is there like anything else? I'm still blown away by the red light.
There is like a few more things incorporated into the house, you know, that are like game changer.
Yeah.
Even just like the way we've planted certain things. There's an air garden where you grow all your herbs. And
what's an air garden?
It's like an aeroponic tower where you're growing like herbs through just water and nutrients. Like it's not in the ground. So it's like a veggie patch, but in a tower sort of thing.
And what kind of things are you growing?
So you can grow a lot of things, but I found that herbs are the best thing because they don't grow out too much. They're not too messy. And herbs, you know, it's a very, if you've got herbs in your garden, you're constantly cutting them, you're incorporating them into your food, into your diet. Yeah. Herbs are a very important part of the diet process, you know, and you're getting fresh herbs. You're not buying like dried out herbs from who knows where.
Yeah. So I guess what started as like a little passion project, like what's to go? So from after finishing it, like number one, how was the feeling when you first walked into the house? Because I know if I built something like that, I would have been very proud of myself. So what was the feeling firstly? And secondly, like, so what does that mean now? Like, where do you want to take it? Is this something that you want to kind of focus on? Are you done with the townhouses? Are you going to leave those, you know, to the other builders? Like, what's the story?
Like the life that I live is very ambitious. I'm always up to something. I'm always on a project or I'm on a task or I'm socializing or I'm training or I'm putting myself through stress, like healthy stress, you know, I'm always very busy. So the moments when I sit down and reflect are rare, but I tried it like a Friday. A Friday night for me is usually reflection time. Like I spend a fair few hours fully reflecting on the week, on everything that's happened.
On a Friday?
Usually a Friday.
I'm actually curious how you reflect.
There was one Friday night where it was after I'd moved into the house, into Hakatia, and I'm just trying to upgrade all the 1%ers, work on the garden. Like I spend 1 hour in the garden every single day. Just 1 hour in the garden. Just,
I love you, bro.
Just to give it the love that it needs, you know, and it deserves, you know, and I've got this connection with the garden now. Like plants are, you know, they're a living organism as well.
It's fun, isn't it?
It is, man. It's phenomenal.
It's fun seeing something grow.
Yeah. And then there was one particular night where I sat back and I was looking at the house and I could feel the house radiating love back to me. And like it was a very emotional moment. Like I was bawling my eyes out crying for at least a minute or two.
Really?
Yeah. It was crazy. Like and that for me solidifies that I've done the right thing, you know? So yeah, and every day that I'm, you know, doing things in this house, still upgrading little features, just making sure all the mechanisms work right, all the pool equipment is integrated on the phone, the gardening system all works on the phone, everything's integrated.
The gardening system works on the phone?
As in just your irrigation system.
Okay, yeah.
Like just watering the grass, weeding. I've got my 2 daughters now. They're only like, one's 2.5, one's 1.5, and they help me weed. Like they know what to pick off the plants already. It's crazy. Like it's great. But through this whole thing, it kept evolving. And now every time I'm like in the house, I understand like this is more than just a house. It's a lifestyle. You know, every time I walk into the house, I feel so good.
Do you even want to leave the house? That was my next question.
I do. Like I'm always on the go. I don't stop.
Yeah, but it's a nice house. Like you could definitely stay there and just chill.
Oh
out.
yeah, it's great. Like I've made sure that I've incorporated a square of, you know, a decent amount of grass so you can ground. You've got the earth element. You've got a grafted lemon tree, a grafted lime tree, a grafted orange tree.
What's grafted?
Like they grow flat on the fence.
Oh,
because
wow.
it's. I've always wanted to move out to a farm or, you know, move out of the city, but in reality, I'm never going to. My family lives in the city. We've grown up in the city, and I'm going to be here. So it's all about like trying to go as holistic as we can in the city. So like in a city, blocks aren't massive, so you're not going to be able to have a massive veggie garden, you know. So that's the reason for the air garden. That's the reason for the grafted trees. So you're still getting some stuff fresh from the garden, you know, in the house.
So would you? So before the house started, would you sit there and you go, all right, this is the list of things I want, or it just evolved as you went? So someone said, oh, that would be a great idea. Put the water thing, or even the garden that's a vertical. Like, was it just an ever evolving process, or did you have like, this has to go into my house, like before you started the build?
There were things that I knew I wanted. Like
what
for
were
instance,
they?
the Granda water system.
Okay.
I knew that 100% I was going to use their system because again, like we spoke about in the start of this conversation, how do you know what's good without trying it? So you need to try it and get feedback and see if it's working and know. And then now I've already started building the next prototype. Like the next Hacketeer has already started building. And then I've got another one that's just started. They're all in Northcote. So they're all in Northcote, but that's just because I've always lived in Northcote. I've grown up in Northcote ever since I was a baby.
Yeah.
So I've always been in that area. So that's where I'm just sticking to. That's where my family lives. That's where my in-laws live. Like everything is in that area. So, but the thing is like, as I was saying, like everything's evolved. Everything keeps evolving. And about a year ago, there was a new venture that like a new aspect to this whole thing that started to arise. And it's if someone's going to take on this lifestyle, how can we even make it better? You know? So I've introduced this thing called Homey. It's the Homey Wellness Service. So what it incorporates is now a service with the home. So the person who buys this house will get access to a concierge service that gives them access to like a massive range of services. Do you want me to go through them?
I'm curious, man.
All right. I've got it on paper.
Yeah. And honestly, this is the first I've heard of it, so I'm very curious.
And this is the first of its kind. And we've already started actually rolling it out to some friends and family to test it out, to actually perfect it. Like we want to get it right. But alongside, you know, the lifestyle of this home, it's essentially gonna become like this homey lifestyle. So we're creating a lifestyle that you live through engaging with our houses and our services. Does that make sense?
A little bit, but yeah, I need a bit more information.
So it starts with the Homey service is a wellness home service package, a premium hassle-free home service package designed exclusively for wellness homes we build and sell. Homeowners can choose from a wide range of services tailored to maintain their home's beauty, functionality, and overall well-being, ensuring a stress-free, luxurious lifestyle. So the first level of services is home maintenance and cleaning services. So there's internal cleaning, external cleaning, gardening and lawn care, pool cleaning and maintenance, car washing and detailing. So we will wash your car at your house. So you never need to worry about washing your car again. You know, you don't have to worry about cleaning your house ever again. You don't have to take every service either, but you know, you work it out as you go what you want. Then we've got like premium express services where it's an express deep clean. So it'll be like a team of 4 cleaners come in because there's something. So this is how deep I've thought about every interaction and every like energy behind the whole service is if you've got a cleaner, some people don't mind it, but if you've got a cleaner there for 8 hours of the day, just plodding along cleaning the house, it interferes with your energy. There's another person in the house. So I've got another service. So if that doesn't suit you, you go for the express deep clean, and it will be a team of 4 and it will all be done within 2 hours. So you don't have to feel it. You can book it in for a time where you're going to do something. You know, you're going to the gym.
By the time you come back,
the house has been transformed.
You can eat off your floor.
Exactly right. Yeah. And then there's an express garden makeover. It'll be a team of 3 to 5. There's express renovation touch-ups. So like, you know, you damage a wall, you damage something, whatever it is, we can have someone there to fix it straight away. Then this is where it gets really cool. We've got the luxury in-home wellness services. So we've got in-house massage therapy. So you call up, hey, I want a massage tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Yep, no worries. Massage therapist comes with a massage bed, wherever you want, in the garden, upstairs in your bedroom, in one of the rooms, anywhere in the house, you know, you get a massage. So there's an element of experience there. You can get a massage in your bedroom, jump straight into bed afterwards, late at night, go to sleep.
Can I just quickly intervene?
Yeah.
My dream is to have a masseuse come to my house like every like Sunday and massage me to sleep and just go.
100%. Something I already do.
Yeah. Literally, is that what? Like she lets herself out. Like I don't want to have to open her door. Like I go to sleep.
And the house is designed for them to just let themselves out seamlessly. It's all.
You're gonna have
it's
to
all
give me
part
that
of it.
number.
Personal chef services. So we can have a chef come, cook dinner, cook lunch, whatever you want. You know, it's unlimited range. Dry cleaning, pickup and delivery. So you don't have to worry about going to a dry cleaner ever again. Yoga, breathwork, and meditation. You know, I just told you I came out of a breathwork class. I have access to like the best breathwork teachers, yoga. I've been practicing breathwork, yoga, and meditation now for like 5-6 years. And religiously, I was doing it even before that. But like the last 5-6 years has been like every single week, I'm doing yoga 3-4 times a week. I'm doing breathwork at least once a week. I'm meditating it almost every day, you know? So, and throughout the years, the interactions that I just had with this teacher, for instance, instantly she gave me her number, and now I've got her in the database to, you know, when someone calls up, wants a breathwork teacher, I send her. Imagine the experience they're gonna have, you know, from a breathwork meditation perspective, or doing yoga by your bedside, and then for the last pose of Shavasana, instead of doing it on the yoga mat, you do it in bed, and you just go to sleep for the night. Yeah, these are life hacks, man.
Yeah.
This is ultimate living. It's like, you know, I go to St. Haven. I've been on this journey before St. Haven, but I go to St. Haven, and St. Haven is a phenomenal place, but you need to go there. This is coming to you. It's in your house, you know, it's in your home. So even for me as a father of 2 girls, a business owner of multiple businesses, you know, so many things going on with my day, it's hard for me to get to St. Haven, you know, but imagine you could incorporate it into your life. Imagine your kids could see you doing yoga at home, breathwork at home, meditation at home, getting a massage. Like their subconscious rendering, their wiring is going to be, you know, second to none, you know. So there's a lot of dynamics to this where it gets really good. So that's all that. Then we've got like linen services, so bed sheet changing. So like that's something where like if you had the cleaners in cleaning, they can change your bed sheets. So you don't need to get your bed sheets washed every week. It'll be fresh bed sheets that we supply. It's literally like a hotel. This is where the Crown Casino comes in, you know? So it's a hotel lifestyle there in your own home. It's never been done before. You know, I live this to a certain extent, but now through this Homey service, I can live it. I can personally live it to another level, you know, and whoever I'm sharing that with the wider community, whoever wants to experience that can now experience it through this. Then we've got, you know, painting and touch up, household repairs, maintenance, like handyman services, repairs, renovations, whatever you need. You know, we've got the construction capability, so we can do all of that. Minor renovation, custom additions, smart home setup and maintenance. Then we've got seasonal maintenance plans, yearly sealing of external paving. So you don't need to worry about like, you know, sealing your paving. We can seal it, come through, fully clean all the external paving, seal it. So it's just like resistant to grime and all that. You stay on top of all the little maintenance things of your house, something you don't need to worry about, you know? Then we've got like exclusive lifestyle and convenience services, so organic grocery deliveries, local restaurant collaborations.
Wow.
In-home health conscious furnishing. So essentially like the bed that I spoke about, there's other elements like, so in that bed, it's not just on a two degree incline. It's made out of all timber and natural materials, all organic cotton. So all organic wool and organic timbers. And there's no metals, there's no springs, there's nothing that will radiate like bad EMFs, anything like that. It's literally, this is a biohacker's bed. You know, it's one of the best beds you can get for just sleep recovery, getting into that deep sleep.
What about temperature? Does it like
it's all incorporated. So the wool, even the wool hasn't been dyed. It's only just been gently washed with certain things, so no chemicals. And what the wool does is there's like, I can't remember them all, but there's like 7 layers to the bed. And one of the layers is like a wool thing that absorbs a certain amount of moisture and regulates temperature. And it also has a grounding mat inside it as well. So it's plugged in to the earth so that your body's like just freeing electrons through the bed while you sleep. Yeah?
That's unbelievable.
It's next level.
Yeah.
But how far can we take it? We can take it further. It's like we can furnish your whole house with this stuff. Couches that are made of all organic materials. No like forever chemicals, no toxins, nothing that radiates EMFs, you know.
What's EMFs?
Electromagnetic frequencies. So, you know, everything electrical emits EMFs. While we're on EMFs as well, when we're building the house, we consciously think about like, so where the beds are, the power points are away from the beds. There's no power running behind the beds in the walls.
Wow.
Stuff like that. There's little things in the houses too that we've done that like it's nitty gritty. I wouldn't even really talk about, but yeah, certain aspects like that. Everything's like, when we're at electrical phase, I'm there with the electricians telling them like, you know, if a bed's going to go here, we don't want any power. The power's got to run from up, down rather than along the walls. Yeah. There's certain aspects, you know, that are done. So yeah, that's on EMFs. But where were we? Household maintenance, painting touch-ups, minor renovations,
pavers,
health conscious furnishing. Yeah. So it's like low VOC, low toxic, sustainably sourced furniture, right? Then we've got like home security and remote monitoring services. So like you're going on holidays, you need to put the bins out or take them back in. We'll get it done for you. You can request like security. So I'm going away for the next 2 weeks. Can you make sure security drives past my house once a day, twice a day, 3 times, whatever you want, you know, like it's there. So like, so cool. You know that everything's being kept safe. Then we've got like luxury home organization and decluttering services. So like we can declutter, closet organization, pantry optimization, storage solutions, you know, to create clean, efficient, and harmonious living spaces. Because that's another thing. Like this is a 1%er, and it can be taken very lightly, or you can see it as 1%er. Like they say, if you don't, like you get up, you make your bed, you clean your car, you clean your desk. If everything's, I think it's a Japanese philosophy. Like they make sure that everything's prim and proper,
in order,
decluttered. Because if you've got a messy desk, you've got a messy mind. If you've got a messy car, you've got a messy mind.
Yeah.
So
there's books on it.
They even say that like even on your browser, if you have too many tabs open, that creates messiness in the mind.
But that's impossible not to do.
It's something to know about, and you just, you know. So for me, if I have browsers that have a lot of things, I make sure I always minimize them, because you can't avoid it. You're gonna have always browsers.
Yeah.
But I try to open up separate browsers for separate things.
Yeah.
And then always, because I'm aware of it. So once I'm aware of something,
you can be at least a little bit more conscious.
It's a 1%er. Yeah. So like if this is gonna give me 1% more clarity in my day, then why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah.
You know?
Nice.
So the decluttering comes as like a 1%er for health and wellness and general well-being. Then we've got pet grooming and walking services, which is a really good one. And then we've got solar panel and skylight cleaning and maintenance. So like, you know, once a year we can jump up on the roof, clean all the solar panels, clean your skylights, and that maximizes like electricity efficiency and stuff. Yeah, nice. make more power.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all the Homey services to date.
Wow.
But
how did this come about?
Just through like, how can I create the ultimate lifestyle in these homes, and it can be any home. These services can be extended to other people's homes. You don't have to buy, a house off us.
Yeah, okay.
The service is there for everyone.
But were you having issues in your own life that you're like, if I could have this, if I could have that, and that's how Homey came about?
I think it's more due to the fact that I'm always trying to implement more and more 1%ers, just to live a cruisier lifestyle, and it works.
What's your top 5 1%ers?
Water, the elements. Water, grounding, early and nighttime sun, like early and afternoon sun.
But what does that look like? As in, you just go outside, you catch it from your window?
Movement. Yeah. So I'm always trying, like I wear these yellow glasses, are blue light blockers and yellow lenses. So I use that to just filter out the blue light, like from all the artificial lighting. Wow. So whenever I'm looking at a screen or I've got, artificial lighting around, I wear these glasses. But
they suit you.
Thanks. My missus doesn't think so, but
I reckon it's good.
It's another story. But it's all about, like if there is morning or afternoon sun there, these come straight off. I'm looking directly at the sun, getting it into the retina, and then it does its process. You know? So trying to get the sun exposure, water, obviously diet, like the food you eat. Eating like as organic as possible. If you're eating meats, as like grass-fed, finished, antibiotic free. Like you don't want like meat or animals that have been injected with millions of vaccines or whatever it is. So like it's just being aware and conscious to make better decisions in your life and pick the best meat, the best chicken, the best that you can possibly get, or the best water, the best fish, wild caught, making sure it's not farmed, or if it is farmed, the best quality farm that you could possibly get, or it's just knowing it all comes down to awareness.
It does.
Like ultimately it's all just subcategories to awareness. But once you've got awareness and you put your time into things, it obviously takes time and energy.
It does.
And effort.
Yep.
But that's the thing, like it's all simplified here.
Yeah.
I've simplified it for you. You don't need to worry. We can deliver all the best ingredients, the best food. We can deliver the water. We can deliver whatever it is you want. That's going to upgrade your life. And that's what this is all about. It's sharing all my knowledge, all my experience, all the wisdom, the interactions that I've had with, and I've spoken to you about it before. Another big thing that I do is even this breathwork coach or anyone, as soon as I know someone has a little bit of wisdom that I don't know about or information that I don't know about, I'm instantly like, connecting with them, paying them for a service where I can just interact with them for, an hour a week, 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week, so that I can absorb their information, their perspectives on life, their ways of life, their experiences, their spiritual beliefs, their, the way they eat, the way they sleep. And you dissect that and you can understand that like, all right, and this is where you learn. You learn off other people.
Couldn't agree more.
And you learn from other people just by like, hanging out with them. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a conversation. Energy is transferred in more ways than just sound. Does that make sense? So us sitting together, we're absorbing each other's energies. We're absorbing each other's experiences a little bit. That's why, you got to be careful who you hang out with. It's another big 1%er,
I'm sitting here just inspired, to be honest with you. Honestly, Johnny, you're inspiring, man.
Thank you.
And I actually don't say that often because like, I give a lot of compliments to people, but generally, like the way you go about life in business, family, spirituality, friendships, great role model, honestly. Great role model. So I think anyone implementing these things is going to benefit massively. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're doing these things, like it'll help them. So I think it's a great service as well. But like, honestly, good stuff.
Yeah, it comes with obviously a lot of hard work, like anything, a lot of effort, a lot of dedication, a lot of sacrifice. But another 1%er that I like to be aware of is time management and where you're giving your energy to, who you're hanging out with is one part, but even just like how much do you socialize? How much time do you spend at work? How much time do you spend with your family? How much time do you spend training or putting yourself through stresses like cold exposure or heat exposure? All these things are different pillars of success. How much time do you spend praying? connecting with God, connecting with yourself. How much time do you spend in the mirror? There's a limited amount of time in the day. How much time do you spend sleeping? You know, all these things contribute. By the time you do a little bit of everything in a day, there's no hours left. There's no minutes left. There's no seconds left. You see what I'm saying? So time management is a 1%er in itself, and where you put your energy. You know, if you've got to spare half an hour and you spend it with somebody on a complete lower vibration who's not aware of anything, not trying to be aware of anything, you know, they're gonna pull you down to their realm, their dimension of frequency. So it gets deep, man. It gets deep, and you know, like sometimes it's all about not sometimes, it's always about the experience. It's like the experience of spirituality, the experience of the prayer with God, the experience of eating this food that's grass-fed or nutrient-dense food, or the experience of searching for the water or just drinking the water, knowing that like, wow, this water is uplifting my energy. You know, sometimes they're little experiences, but then there's also the experience of like, for me, the biggest experiences are like social interactions, meeting people, like meeting new people and talking about their journeys and understand. Like for me, ultimately, that's the ultimate happiness. Yeah. So like if it's 2 a.m. and I'm like ready to go home because like I'm just done with the night, but I meet a new person at 2 a.m. and the conversation kicks, I'll go till 4 or 5 a.m. Yeah, because it's the most important thing in my experience of life in that moment. It's the most important thing. Like sleep for me is is meant to be the most important, but that will override it sometimes. You know, meeting someone, or even before this podcast, meeting that new breathwork coach and just and then connecting with her and being able to have that conversation. It came first. Like even the fact that I was going to be late to the podcast, it didn't matter. I lost track of time. I'm fully present in that moment, in that experience. So
there's a lot of wisdom there, Johnny. Like, where does someone start? Like, they've got no idea. Like, you're dropping so much game right now, yeah? But this might be overwhelming someone so much. Like, someone listens to this and they're absolutely inspired with what you've done, what you've created, the person you are, the way you speak. Like, where could someone actually genuinely start? Like, where do you think? I know you said the basics at the start, but if I was a novice, where would I start? Like, how does someone get your way of thinking, your mindset, I know that's years and years and years and years, but just some like basics off the bat that would really help.
I'm not sure, man. I think ultimately it starts with water and God. And when I say God, I mean connection to self-love in a sense. Like if you can't love yourself or even want to love yourself, then you can't really start.
But how does someone love themselves?
Well, that's the thing. It's training. It's connecting. It's closing your eyes, going inwards. You know, it's treating yourself with respect. You know, if you're gonna just sabotage your health with fucking shit food, then you're disrespecting yourself. You hate yourself. So it stems from habits, decisions. Like as I go through, like I'm understand, like I know more and more. Like it's like, yeah, okay. Before habits comes decisions, because every decision, every moment, like even as small as someone cuts you off on the road, how do you react? You know, and if you can be aware of that and control that, they're good starting points, because they're little moments in life where it's like, if you can't be in control in those moments, then you're not in control of anything. And if you're not in control of, like, you know, what you the food you consume, the water you consume, the vibrations, the sounds, the music. Could even just start with just playing classical music instead of rap. Or playing, you know, classical music instead of...
Music's a massive one.
Music's a big one.
Because it hits your subconscious and you don't even know. Like, you're listening to a trendy track and you enjoy it, but the vibration, the frequency, the words...
I'm reading a book at the moment. It's called Power versus Force. And
Yeah, I've heard of
I'm
that.
only about halfway through the book, but to sum it up, it's basically summing up kinesiology, which is and this study or this experiment that they've done for like many, many years, where if you any human, two subjects, you hold your arm in a parallel, like in an L shape like that, and you put classical music on and you push down, the arm holds. If you put rap or like a negative frequency music, whatever it is, like hardcore, like metal or hardcore rock, all that sort of stuff, like other, or just negative vibrations, you know, the arm goes weak. Wow. And the way they do this experiment is, it's not just with music. It's like, putting, you know, vitamin C or antibiotics. And, you know, and they can, it gets so deep that they can be like, okay, you can ask questions. So you can be like, okay, so the vitamin C, the hand will hold strong, but the antibiotics, the hand will go weak. Yeah. Then it goes even deeper where like they'll put the antibiotics and the vitamin C into an envelope. So you're not even consuming it. You're not even seeing it. And not just that, the person that's holding their arm like that and the person pushing their hand down don't know what's in the envelopes. Yeah. So it's completely blind, energetically blind, but you hold this envelope there, the one with vitamin C will hold strong. The one with antibiotics will go down. Does that make sense? Then it goes even deeper to the point where they ask the subject a question like, okay, is antibiotics on a frequency level, like what, like from a scale of 1 to 1,000, 1,000 being enlightenment, and 0 being, you know, like ultimate negative energy. They say like 200 is a neutral level. Everything below that is kind of like in the negative realm of frequencies, like it's anger, apathy, guilt, all that sort of stuff. And everything in the above is like, and it's categorized, like each thing has a certain number of frequency. And then when they ask like, is antibiotics above 200, the hand will go weak. And it's like, all right, is it below 200? The hand will say strong. Like they ask questions and then they determine the frequency of each item or each question individually based on the question. So they'll keep going, narrowing it down till it gets to a number. So they're talking to some source. Does that make sense? So essentially what the book is talking about is it's all about like all of us are connected to the same source of information. It's all there for all of us. You just got to be open to accepting the information. But the ego is what holds us back. Because
what about the ego though?
The sense of self, it's holding us back from connection. It's the sense of self of like, I'm going to feel this emotion. But then you see someone drink or do drugs or something. And then what that does is it takes away the negative frequencies that they're feeling, because most of the time their operating frequencies are in the negatives, but it's not to say the positive ones aren't there. They're there, but they're overridden by all the negative stuff. That's the ego. The ego's holding your perspective, your sense of self on all these negative, getting angry when someone cuts you off rather than be like, oh man, all good, I love you. You see the difference?
Yeah.
And the difference in that is your state of being. It's your state of consciousness. Yeah. So like, essentially what they're talking about is when someone drinks or, you know, takes certain substances, it helps them it dissolves the ego. It dissolves the sense of all these negative emotions. And now they start feeling the happy emotions that were there anyway. It doesn't make them happy. They're just feeling something that was already there, but they're just not tapped into it, you know? And that's why when people have profound experiences off substances, sometimes it can be life-changing, because then now you know that emotion exists, that frequency exists. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
So yeah, that's this whole book on like power and force and like what it talks about. And it's a way of tapping in. It's a way of being like, okay, I'm going to tap into source. I'm the same source that you and I are both tapped into, and everyone else is. Everyone has the ability to tap into the source of knowledge, you know, which is God. Like,
wow.
There's so many perspectives of the word God, you know, like as in it's such a strong word. But there is no right or wrong. And, you know, it goes back to religion. It goes back to religion. Like for me, my faith in my religion has obviously, gone up and down, but where it is today, when I pray and I ask for wisdom, or I'm grateful for the wisdom that I'm absorbing daily, or that I'm able to speak, or that I'm able to feel, and then that whole journey of, God for me is my religious belief. But then for you, it's a different religious belief, and then the next person, it's completely different. But then even if we had the same religious belief, our relationship with God is completely different to each other, So essentially what's that telling you? The connection to God is a reflection within yourself.
Of you.
Yeah.
I think you really nailed it with, I've never understood when people have a profound experience on like, let's say, acid or drugs. I've never understood it. Like I've tried it before. I've had a great time, but I've never understood the profound experience. But I think you nailed it when you said it brings out an emotion they know was within them, and now they know what's possible. And I think that's so true. I don't think I've ever heard anyone explain it as well as that.
Yeah, and then you can aspire to it, and if you can start tapping into different feelings, different emotions, then you're on the way to tapping into intuition, and then that's how you can know if something's good for you, if it's not.
Let me ask you a question. It just came to me. Obviously, life's up and down. We all go off track a little bit. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, there's going to be moments in your life where you're flowing, things are working out. Everything you have to do, you're doing it, and you're doing it amazingly to the T. But there's going to be moments where things are a little bit out of whack. What's your anchor that brings you back to the straight line? For example, like for me, if I'm feeling I'm drifting a little bit, I'll just start having more conversations with God, or like saying like prayer words, and then get back into my praying habit, and then that will bring me back, and then I can start flowing again. That's my anchor. But without that anchor, I think it'd be so easy to lose. Like, what's yours? Like,
yeah, for me, it's very similar to you. It's anxiety is, it's an anticipation of the future. It's a fear of the future. They say that like depression is more something from your past. It's the negative emotions associated with something in your past. But ultimately, like, you want to just, if you're in either one of those, that is what's going off track. Nothing out in the everything in the external world is just an illusion. It's just the way you're perceiving everything. So it all comes down to what's going on the inside. So if you're saying you're going off track, it just means you're starting to feel anxiety about something that you're anticipating, the unknown, because it's the future, or, the known behind us, what's happened, the past. And ultimately just bringing yourself back to the present moment, which is prayer. It's prayer. Like,
what was that alarm for?
If you can
for a time? No.
Yeah, no.
I thought it was like bang on at a certain time.
Nah. So if you can bring yourself back to the present moment, so you feel anxiety, close your eyes and just connect to yourself. Pray. If prayer is your tool, for me and you, it's prayer. But for some people, they might not have a religious belief. Their parents maybe didn't teach them traditionally they didn't have a religion, or, their parents were atheist, or their parents just, didn't have religious beliefs. What are they going to use? They can't use the same tool you're going to use. Does that make sense? So it ultimately comes down to stopping, closing your eyes, and connecting to the present moment, which is now, what is going on right now. And it's all inside. It's because it's only going on inside. It's either anxiety or a fear of the past or a fear of the future. So when you stop, you close your eyes and just start thinking, start observing the thought. Yeah? So once you start observing the thought, you start observing the fact that, like, oh, maybe I'm just feeling anxiety because of something that hasn't happened yet, doesn't even exist. But I'm manifesting it because it exists in me first, So it's like just bringing yourself to the present moment, praying. For me, it's prayer or a mantra, or it's breath work. You know, there's multiple ways to do it. Sometimes I don't always straight away turn to prayer as in like the religious practice, but sometimes I do. You know, sometimes I turn to breath work. Sometimes I turn to something else, like it's yoga, for instance. You know, yoga will do it for me sometimes. Sometimes it won't. But incorporated in my yoga, when I do yoga, you're doing breath work, you're doing meditation, and I pray at the start and at the end of every yoga session. So I incorporate my spirituality into these other ancient spiritual practices. You know, yoga isn't something that I've come from in my lineage, but I've found it as a tool. And I'm like, okay, how can I implement yoga into my life, but incorporate it into where I've come from? So it's like incorporating modern day techniques with our past life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And where we've come from.
Yeah.
And I think that's it, man. Like you said, ultimately, like it comes down to having faith in God, having faith in yourself, and not worrying about these little things and going off track, you know? The path, the right path is a very narrow road. And I got that from, and I haven't even fully read the Bible, but it was in the first page. I'm pretty sure it was in like the first page of the New Testament, literally said, like, the narrow road, something about the narrow road being, you know, the right path, and the big road is the one that everyone's walking on, you know? And it's very hard to stay on the narrow road, but as long as you have faith, you will.
So what's the narrow, like if you were going to explain what's the narrow road?
The narrow road is making all the decisions, you know, that
like the 1%ers.
Yeah, it's essentially the 1%ers, because like all religion is essentially doing is categorizing things into frequencies without giving you the numbers. It's telling you that, you know, killing someone is a negative frequency, or even, you know, whatever it is. They're basic principles, but we know as humans, like, what is going to uplift our frequency and what's going to decrease our frequency. And the frequency thing, like back to like all those, you know, the frequencies of like the high vibrationals all the way up to like enlightenment, love, joy, you know, you start coming down, and it starts getting more to like.
But isn't
neutral.
there one above that?
What do you mean?
There's the high frequency above love.
Enlightenment.
No, isn't
enlightenment
it authenticity?
Yeah, authenticity. I don't know where that sits, to be honest. I'm not exactly.
I think
sure.
the most powerful state.
It's a very being authentic.
I think it's the most powerful, more than love. I think I definitely heard it somewhere.
States of enlightenment it's something that like we might experience in a profound moment. We just get to tap into it here and there, but it's ultimately like saints, gurus, people who devote their whole life to just, I'm connected to God, you know? But in reality, we live in the city. We have families, we have friends, we have social interactions, we have, you know, all these things. So like I don't think the same way someone like Elon Musk devotes so much of his energy to business, and that's where his success is, but then he might be lacking in, it's probably a bad example because I don't know him that well, but as in, if someone devotes a lot of their energy into business and they get financially, you know, successful, and they've got all this success in their businesses, but then they lack in all their relationships with their wife, with their family, they neglect it, they're always at work, or they neglect it and they neglect their health because they don't have time. They're always just focusing on the business. When you do that, then you're only successful in one pillar of life, you know, but you haven't fed the other pillars.
You're not the
so it's the same thing when you're essentially a monk or a spiritual guru or whatever it is. They're devoting all their energy to the spirituality, the spiritual aspect, that pillar of success. So then they're fully successful in that pillar. But for us day-to-day humans, the ultimate success is being successful in every single pillar, you know? So you come home, you're in a loving relationship, you go visit your parents, everything's loving dynamics, your kids, you can give that to your kids. There's so many dynamics just in relationships on its own, you know? And then how that, as a 1%er, benefits your health, because all these interactions with people affects your hormones, it affects your mood, it affects just your general energy.
But do you think there's certain times in life where one is more important than the other? Or not more important, but one, you got to put more importance to one than the other? Yeah.
Definitely. But you're always going to have to come back and then refeed the more energy into the one that you neglected.
Yeah, water the
because
other
if you spend too much time in your business and you neglect your wife, then you're going to now have to give her more energy in another time so that you can gain that love back, the level of love, but then now you're neglecting your business. You see what I'm saying? So you want to try and time manage your time into all the pillars of life and try to just feed each one as much as you can. And sometimes you're going to have to give your wife more love. You know, maybe it's your anniversary, you take the day off work, but then you come back on the Monday and you're going to have more work to do. You know,
so how do you balance that? Because like you said, you got a few businesses, you got kids. Like I'm always curious about.
It's just always just being conscious of your time, evaluating, reflecting on a Friday night, knowing, okay, where did I put my energy this week? And then altering it for the next week. So it's just being awareness, self-reflection, reflecting on the week that just passed, and then being like, okay, how can I plan for a better week next week? You know?
When you wake up, what's the first thing you think of? First thought.
It just depends, man.
Really? I thought you'd be more intentional.
Well, how can you be intentional? You've just woken up, so you're waking up to a thought.
First thing I think of every morning, thank you God for being alive.
Yeah, well, I try for the first thing to be God and prayer. That's what I try to do. You know, I'll get up, I say, thank you, God, I'm alive, whatever. But sometimes I might wake up thinking about work.
Yeah.
Or I might wake up thinking about something negative. Or I might wake up from a dream and I think I'm in a whole different planet. But I've woken up back to reality. So it's not always as easy as, you know, being in control. But
what do you say to yourself in the morning? Because obviously you got to set your intention for the day. Yeah. So what's kind of your mantras? Like, what are you saying to yourself when you're up?
Man, I try to get up, say a little prayer, get my affirmations going on the phone. Well, coconut oil into my mouth, oil pull, do a few qigong movements, energy movement practices, like ancient practices to get my blood flowing, and just like spinning side to side or a bit of shaking around, and then jumping in the shower, doing some light stretches under the hot water, and then getting into my day, you know, with fresh glass of water and all that.
How good's the morning?
Yeah, the morning is
the best.
It starts your whole day.
Why is it so much more powerful the mornings? Or even really late? Like, no, you can't. No, morning's more powerful. But like, why is it so powerful?
Mornings. It's the way you start your day, man. So the better you start your morning, the better your day is going to be. You know, you set that intention, and like ultimately, just set your intention for wisdom, for peace, for love, for gratitude.
Nice.
And then you manifest those things within the day, and it's not always going to go your way. Every day is a different energy. You're a different version of yourself every day. But ultimately, man, like that's where it's all gone.
All right, John, just to end it.
Yeah.
If you're going to send a message to your future self, not your past, your future self that's listening to this in 2-3 years, what do you want to tell him?
To my future self, what would I tell my future self if I could tell him something? Just be here now. As Ram Dass puts it, just be here now. I think that's the ultimate. And I already implement that, and I already talk to myself like that. And it's all about just, being in the present moment, ultimately. Thank you. Thank you, Nasser, for spending time with me today and listening to my story. I appreciate it, man. Have a blessed week.
And I'm excited for Homey.
Lots of love.